What's up, everybody? Today I'm sitting down with Mr. Jordan Gast to get his thoughts leading up to his co-main event fight this Saturday on May 31st for HRMMA 125 for the vacant bantamweight championship belt in Bowling Green, Kentucky. How are you doing, Jordan?
Doing great. Appreciate you having me out on here.
I appreciate you coming on, man. It's great to have you on here. I really thank you for taking time out of your busy day and schedule. I know it's fight week, so I'm sure you're ramping up. I've actually got to come see you grapple and fight on a few occasions. And I've seen you out and about at some of the fights too, so it's really nice to get down to sit and talk to you. So we'll start off. I always like to get everybody's kind of baseline here on what inspired you to start fighting, and can you give me kind of a breakdown of your fighting journey so far?
Just ever as a kid, man, I watched Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, all that stuff, seen them fighting the bad guys, and I knew eventually I'd want to do that. But I didn't quite figure out like the individual martial arts of it all until I had started wrestling when I was in 6th grade. Soon I started wrestling, I knew then that this was my journey. And then eventually my very first card I watched was George St. Pierre fighting, and after seeing that, I knew this was the path. This is what I always wanted to do.
I know I've seen you grapple quite a bit professionally and stuff. Would you say that was probably the most natural part of it for you out of striking versus wrestling?
I started with wrestling when I was in 6th grade and just never quit since then. And I've been very active here lately in the grappling aspect, not just the jiu-jitsu, but I've done a triple crown this year in wrestling, freestyle, Greco, and folk style in the state. I plan on hitting nationals, be after this fight, but I plan on hitting nationals. Just staying active in the grappling part, just keeping my tools sharp there. That is where I'm most comfortable at. Doesn't mean I'm not striking, though. I am, striking on a regular basis every weekly, and just sticking up with that, trying to stay full rounded. I had a kickboxing fight, I want to say about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. Just trying to stay full well rounded, and that means not forgetting where I came from as well. So just always sticking with my roots.
Do you prefer grappling over MMA fights, or do you like to fight MMA?
So when I go back to wrestling, it's been just for fun, really. It has become a lot simpler, I believe, since I have done MMA. I wrestled first, so I believe I just grew into that stress. But now, since I've done jiu-jitsu and I've done MMA, I have so much less to worry about in wrestling. And jiu-jitsu alone, in every position, you can get choked or submitted. In MMA, you got to worry about getting punched. So going back to wrestling, it's like I don't have to worry about all that stuff. I can just wrestle. So that's been fun. But yeah, I'd say I prefer the grappling aspect of it. I just have more fun with it. It's less harmful on my body. Striking, I'm only going to be able to do so long. But the grappling, I can feel like I do a lot longer than striking.
So when you're going in to compete with these grappling matches and stuff, do you think, I know some of them are also multifaceted like yourself, who also fight and compete in grappling. Do you think that your experience with MMA gives you an edge in grappling, since you are kind of more used to maybe being in the wilder part of the MMA stuff? It might calm you down a little bit to be in a grappling situation.
I believe so. I believe it. And just the experience coming with it, just the more mat time, the better, no matter what sport it is. The more mat time, the more comfortable you get in the line of fire. So I believe that's why I want to stay as active as I can. I've had kickboxing matches this year. I've had tons of wrestling matches, jiu-jitsu matches this year, pro grappling matches. So I just think staying active and being on the mat, just staying comfortable in the line of fire gives me a little bit more of an advantage.
Talk to me a little bit about your gym.
Oh man, the gym's been growing. It's been great. We're a little over 2 years old. Just didn't have it. So this is my hometown, North Vernon, Indiana. Jennings County is the wrestling that I did. And we just didn't have anything here, man. And I just knew that me growing up, I could have done a lot better in my grappling career, or just stayed out of trouble with it. So growing up, I had to bounce from gym to gym because they were always out of county, far away. Some gyms would stop, So I'd have to bounce around. Eventually, I knew I'd want to get to the experience I need to be in order to start a gym here in my hometown. And I went and did my homework. I went to train multiple gyms, did multiple seminars. I'm going to get the experience. I'm staying active. I'm trying to stay fighting to keep getting that experience. I'm not going to tell my team to go do a tournament and me not do it either, man. I'm right there with them. But the gym's great, man. We're growing. I got a great kids program. We've won a couple jiu-jitsu tournaments team-wise. We got second at a big, huge tournament the other day, beating big teams that have been open for decades. And we got second overall, and that's awesome for being only open for 2 years here. Can't ask for a better team. I'm just really the owner, but pretty much every night we have different Gastank MMA, so every night's something different. We'll have striking one night, we'll have jiu-jitsu, we'll have MMA, we got judo, and I have a coach pretty much set for each of those arts that just specialize in those arts. Man, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be as great as what we are today, man. And like I said, I'm not going to ask my team to come in here every day and try to learn something new every day if I'm not there with them. So I like to bring people in, learn with my team. We have tons of seminar. I'm sure you know Jake O'Brien. He's a buddy of mine. He's come in and done a seminar. That's probably our most credited person to come do a seminar. But we got Dylan Earnhardt is our black belt, man. He's done awesome seminars here. We just constantly having seminars here, bringing in great minds. Just for myself too, because I'm still on this journey as well, and I like to be in there with my team and the grind with them. And couldn't ask for a better group of guys. The gym's great. You kind of see it behind me. The wall's just full of memorabilia, just James County wrestling and Gastank stuff. And I've even had my team. They bring in their medals. They hang it up. They bring in their brackets. So just couldn't ask for a better gym. Not just for on the mats, but off the mats. We're really a great community. We pull through for each other. We ask each other, if they need help with anything, off the mats, on the mats. It don't matter. So I'm blessed with this gym. I'm glad I started it. I'm glad I've gotten the coaches behind me. The support of the county, man's been crazy. They involved me in everything, the fair, parades, all of it. So it's been great, and I believe it's got a lot more to grow, and we got a lot more to shine and bring James County on the map.
I was going to ask how the reception had been for that, because I know like here in the last 2 years since I've been kind of keeping up with a little bit more of the local and regional stuff, I've noticed a pretty big growth in these events and stuff. I know Brandon at HR has been keeping busy with, he of course has his own stuff, and then does the matchmaking for a lot of different of the events, Future of Fighting, and then Ohio Combat League does a lot of stuff up that way. And I haven't been to Indiana yet for any of the fights, but it sounds like y'all are growing up there too. So it's really cool to see the martial arts community kind of growing and stuff. How does being an owner of a gym kind of affect the way that you, your mindset of kind of going into a fight? Does that put some extra pressure on you when you go in, you think?
So when we first started opening up the gym, I was still trying to stay active. And the gym was it was at its very beginning. And that was pretty stressful. I was still taking on fights, and I think I shouldn't have then because my mind was just everywhere with the gym growing, trying to get in new students, and just my students being too young to give me hard rolls. I think I should have just slowed down a little bit when I first started. But I kept with it. I just punched through it. Win or loss, I don't care. I'm just trying to get better. And so I, kept taking on matches. But now, 2 years in it, we've finally gotten to a bigger place, gotten new mats. My team's growing. We're all competing together. We're all putting in camps together. We just had fights a couple weekends ago. I got guys fighting the weekend after my fight coming up. So we're all putting in camps together. I've been getting way harder rolls, bringing in great minds, getting in great seminars, bringing in other gyms in here. We've been traveling to other gyms as well. I think everything's just been coming together here really good lately, that I've been able to focus on myself and the team too. I focus on the team, but I've been able to focus on myself more than what I could when we first started the gym. So now that everything's been coming together, man, I've been undefeated this year. I've been feeling really great, best shape of my life. Cardio's real good. I just feel like everything's come together here lately. So as an owner at first, man, it was rough, but all businesses, no matter what it is, martial arts or running a restaurant, the first year they say is always rough. So we chucked through that, and then coming on to the second year, man, everything just started falling into place, and now it's just all coming together. I think the gym's right where it needs to be, and we're doing what we need to do to get to where we want to be. So as an owner, man, it's cool. It's cool to see it from both aspects. I look at memes now, and I have to stop looking through it as an owner aspect and go back to as a white belt aspect to get it sometimes. So it's fun.
What would be your pitch to anybody who's going, like they're interested in starting martial arts or any kind of endeavor like that?
Man, definitely get your homework done. Don't start it too early. I started this gym as a purple belt, and I honestly think that may be too early. That's why I still like to get great minds in here. I'm still learning myself. Be honest with your students, because when I first started, I had to be honest. I'm not a black belt. I'm not a wizard. I don't know everything. I will take your questions and I will go try to learn myself for sure. And I'm always trying to get people better. So I'll take those questions to heart and go figure those questions out. But just be honest with your students. Say, I don't know right now. That's not a position I know right now. And just get the homework that you just do the homework you need to do. And that's simply just studying the art that you love. If you truly love the art, you're trying to get better all around, and you don't want your students to get better than you. So you better, if they're asking the right questions, you better figure those questions out, because that means they're on the right path. So, and definitely just get ego out of the way. You know, I've been young before. I've been undefeated I had an undefeated streak. You know, ego can keep you, can drag you down. Make sure that ego's out of the way. That way you can teach your students to keep the ego out of the way. You got to keep a gym ego free to learn and to get better together with other people, you know, and, you know, so keep that out of the way. Just be honest. And as an owner, you know, and as a coach and still competing, work hard, you know, try to still be the hardest working guy in the gym. You got to lead by examples, you know, work hard. You know, if you're a black belt and you got the credits and you open up the gym, you've done it. You know, like, I mean, you don't have to, you're just there to teach. But I'm still on the grind with these guys, so I still got to work hard with them, and I want to lead by example. And I'm not going to ask these students of, you know, even my kids' class, I'm not going to ask them to bounce around brackets if I'm not going to go up a belt level and face a black belt or go up a weight class, you know, like I have, because I'm not going to ask these kids to do that and me not do it. Same with the adults. I'm not going to ask them to, you know, kickbox and grapple and do wrestling. I'm going to do that all with them, too, if I'm going to ask them to do that. So just be in the grind with your guys. You know, don't just be over them, be with them, and be honest with them. And, you know, that's about all I got with that.
Speaking of kind of the camp and stuff leading up to it, how's your camp been for this fight? How do you feel? Pretty good?
So this is probably the best camp I've had since owning the gym. Like I said, everything's just really been coming together. This camp, it considered in putting in real matches. So I knew I need, you know, I'm a grappler. I'm a well-known grappler. I've grappled a lot. And I've done a lot of striking, too. And I've done a lot of striking in my MMA matches. I've not done just a kickboxing match, you know, and I knew the question was out there, well, can he just do kickboxing? Can he do it? And so I wanted to answer that question for myself, for the fans, and to get better. So I took a kickboxing match during this camp, won it by TKO. It was a co-main event, and Chance Beck's King of Kickboxing, great promotion. Wind up coming out victorious in the last seconds of the third round. I came out with the TKO. And then the wrestling state where I came Triple Crown, that was all in the camp as well. So just staying active and competing. Best camp I've had, man. I've had the support of the coaches around me and the team and my family and the community. Best cardio camp I've had. You know, I feel in the best shape of my life. With the name Gastank, you know, I work my Gastank a lot. You have to. So that's something I've really gotten to be able to focus on this one and just putting everything together. So I feel great with this camp. Best camp in my life.
Doing the kickboxing, how does that vary from just doing like a regular fight camp? I know you have to there's a lot of different restrictions and stuff that go into that. Is that a kind of you catch yourself trying not to do something that you would normally, or is it?
No, so I thought I would accidentally take the guy down a lot more. But the only thing that happened is I went for a hook, and he went to go knee me at the same time, and I accidentally hooked his knee as he fell down. I wasn't even trying to go for a takedown. But I thought I would accidentally go for some takedowns, but I never did. And I felt like, just like the wrestling part, going from MMA back to wrestling, I feel like going from MMA and jiu-jitsu and stuff to just only kicking and punching, there was a lot less to worry about. You know, I didn't have to worry about him taking me down. I didn't have to worry about him, you know, trying to clinch up with me and do a judo throw. So I felt like there was a lot less to worry about, and it was a lot, I don't want to say simpler, because it was still a tough match, but I had less to worry about as of just getting taken down, you know, all that kind of stuff.
So you're fighting for the belt this time. This is, I don't believe it's your first time fighting for it, is it?
No, this will be my third time. The first two times were with the same guy, Jaron Lathrop, who's a pro now. He's having a great career, proud of him. Those were my first two title fights. I lost a couple close fights to him, but this is the third one. Feeling more prepared for this one than I have the last two. Like I said, the last two were when I was just starting the gym up. You know, no excuses. Jaron was the better guy those nights, but I just feel like everything's more put together. I believe having those 2 title fights and the pressure on me before has given me the experience and a little bit of advantage for this 3rd time. I believe this is Damon's first title fight. I'm not for sure who he is or how he's feeling, but maybe he is feeling that pressure from it being his first title fight. I know I had some pressure on me my first title fight. I don't feel those jitters now. I appreciate it being a title fight, but I'm just trying to get better now. I do want that belt, but in the long run, I just want to get better, and I believe this is a fight that will get me better.
So obviously, you with your gym, kind of competing a lot too. I'm sure you get to see a lot of the same people compete all the time. I know there's quite a few familiar faces for me on this card: Gerardo, Dakota Williams, Cameron Ashby, Gabe Ruth. You ever get to reach out and train with any of those guys, or is it kind of just more you're just?
Yeah, so pretty often, I've competed with guys, competed against guys, and wind up, hitting them up afterwards. Even going out to eat, going to their gym, then coming to our gym. Like I said, I'm constantly I'm all for my students going to other gyms, getting experience, bringing that knowledge back. I'm all for other gyms coming here and bringing their knowledge. So cross training is something I'm big in, and I love to cross train with other gyms. I try to get around as much as I can to other gyms. Rising Tide's my biggest gym I go to. They're down in Madison. That's where my black belt Dylan Earnhardt is from. Great gym down there. I cross train with them probably the most. But yeah, I've seen a lot of familiar faces on the card and fighting constantly like I have been. And I only fight for Hard Rock. He's the only one who's ever gotten me my fights. I appreciate him a lot. He does a great job. I trust him. So with that, I see a lot of the guys that he also has under him, and it's nice to see those guys grow with me, and we've been growing together, and it's cool to see that stuff. I love watching some of these guys fight just because I've fought on the same card with them.
Do you approach every opponent kind of like with the mentality that you're going to put your style onto them, or do you kind of sit back a little bit and kind of adjust to their style and try to play more defense?
Yeah, so I know if people watch my videos, I know they're going to know my style pretty quick, and I want to get to where I'm comfortable. I'm pretty dominant at grappling, so there's no hiding it. So I don't try to hide it. I wear wrestling shirts. I post the wrestling videos. I try to impose that if I believe I'm a truly good wrestler, then I should be able to impose that on anybody I want to. So there's no hiding it. I believe I try to enforce what I try to enforce the pace. I try to enforce what I'm comfortable with. So I do try to be fully well-rounded and be comfortable everywhere. I'm comfortable in striking now, so I try to be comfortable everywhere. But there's no hiding the game plan. People, you watch my fights, we're going for it. I've had 11 fights, and out of those 11, only 1 have gone to the judges. So I'm trying to go to be killed or get the kill.
What was your toughest fight, do you think?
Jaron Lathrop. Man, he's had a great career. He's gone pro now. He's 1-0, I believe, in pro right now. Just had his professional debut. I believe he was 12-1 in his amateur career. I had to face him twice. By far the best matches, I believe, both fights. First round, I won. And then later into the rounds, he had the experience. He had more experience than me. He's been experienced with those rounds to where I was just beating people pretty fast. My previous fights before him, I was choking people out 1 minute, 1 minute, 12 seconds, 1 minute, 30 seconds. I was choking people out quick. I didn't have those 2, 3, 4 rounds experience, and he did. He had the most, mixed style. So I believe he was probably my toughest, and the pressure on me with the title fights. Both of our fights I had with him were title. But very, very glad to get those fights in with him. I think those have made me better and more prepared for now. So I love, the challenges and the better fights. I like going into the 3rd and 4th rounds now. My kickboxing match went into the 3rd round. I love those rounds. I feel like those cardio rounds are better for me. I feel like the later into the round are better for me. So I'm getting more comfortable with those later rounds.
After this fight and beyond, kind of where do you see yourself taking your career and as well as your gym?
So me personally, and selfish reasons, I'd love to get this belt and have the first, belt brought back to Gastank MMA by Gastank. I'd like to defend that belt at least once, and then talk to Hard Rock, and I believe I'd be ready to go pro then as long as I win that defense. I believe I've proven to Hard Rock I'll show up whenever he asks me to. I'll put in the rounds. My cardio is not going to gas out. So if I can get this win, defend the belt one time. I just feel like I have to defend the belt. I go by Dana White's old policy. To be a true champ, you must defend it one time. So I want to get it. I want to defend it. Prove without a doubt that that belt was mine, and then go pro and go on to my pro career. I've already been doing pro grappling. I wouldn't say pro wrestling, but I've been getting in some big, pretty wrestling tournaments, and I want to go pro with the mixed martial arts. I think it'll be time. I'll keep doing my kickboxing career as well, but that's just going to be a little bit later than my MMA. I'm more comfortable in MMA. So just, I definitely don't see it stopping anytime soon, no matter what happens, win or loss. I don't see myself stopping taking challenges anytime soon. So I would just like to keep climbing that ladder and get back and stay on that winning streak.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you one more question here. Just kind of like to get everybody's thoughts on that. What kind of music are you listening to? And maybe if you got a walkout song picked out, what are you going to walk out to this week?
So I'm a rock guy for sure. I've never walked out to a rap song. There's some rap songs I do like for sure, but I'm mainly a rock guy. My walkout songs, for the first while was Spill the Blood by Slayer. I walked out to that a lot of times. The song I'm walking out to now is called Wreck. There's not even words. It's just good heavy metal music, man. There is no words to be said this time, just go out there and get the business done. I think people try to get a little flashy with their songs and come out too focused on the song, man. I just want to come out and focus on the fight, I think rock songs are good for that. So, yeah, I'm a rock guy for sure.
I am too. We just actually went, I guess it was Tuesday or Wednesday, we went and seen AC/DC. They were in Nashville. So I went down there and got to see them finally. They were one of the last bands on my bucket list I haven't got to see. But
That's awesome.
Well, Jordan, I can't wait to watch you fight. Is there anything you'd like to say before we get out of here?
I just appreciate my fans. Definitely appreciate the gym here at Gastank MMA. I appreciate my family, the support of this county. Want to get Scipio Savages there on the map. Want to get James County on the map. Appreciate Hard Rock, man. Without him, this stuff wouldn't be happening. I appreciate the opportunities he's given me. He's blessed me with plenty of opportunities. I know he takes care of a lot of his guys, but he's blessed me with opportunities. And just thanks to everybody that's been a part of this. Appreciate Damon for taking the fight. I'm excited to fight him. Nothing but respect to him, man. He's killer, man. And win or loss on this one for him, man. He's just going to get that experience and get that much better, man. So he'll be danger when he's older, man. So appreciate him and his team and just the love for the sport. Thank you for having me, man. And I just hope to talk to you again after this fight or something.
Well, I can't wait to talk to you again. And I wish you the best of luck this week and with all your gym endeavors, man. It's awesome to hear. Everybody go out and get your tickets for HRMMA 125 this weekend on May 31st. Come out and support a great card and all these excellent fighters coming out. Thank you to Brandon he kind of got me even started in doing the MMA coverage. So that was kind of my first experience with a organization. I went to a made men fight, but I got kind of inspired there to go do some photography and stuff. And so I'm very excited to come back to Bowling Green and get to see everybody again. But you guys go out and get your tickets. It'll be a great time. Say hey to me and Jordan there. And you guys have a great week, and we'll see you then. Thank you.